Hi, today we'll walk you through the process of paying your PO vendors with a credit card. This recording will be relevant to you if you're currently using Unanet financials, meaning all your vendors are already in your system and accounts payable is already configured. You are already familiar with the purchase order creation, the vendor invoice creation, and the bank reconciliation feature. And as well, you're familiar within the overall navigation within Unanet. Let's review the process. Well, first you create your purchase order. You submit it for approval and you have an approved purchase order, meaning that the status equals open. Then let's pretend you go internet shopping and you pay your vendor with a credit card. You will record that transaction by creating a vendor invoice. And you'll create the vendor invoice to your PO vendor, meaning the vendor that you went internet shopping for. But the difference is that you're going to debit your expense account, but you're going to credit your MX accrual account. You're going to submit your vendor invoice and approve it if your approval process is enabled. You're going to do that for the entire month until your MX credit card statement arrives. When you get your American Express statement, what you're going to do is you're going to select all those vendor invoices that you recorded throughout the course of the month, and you're going to create a payment. So you're going to pay vendor invoices in bulk. And those payments will actually debit the MX accrual account and credit MX payable account. Following this step, you will actually do the MX statement reconciliation using the bank reconciliation feature. Then you enter a vendor invoice, but that vendor invoice is to American Express, which will debit the MX payable account and credit accounts payable, because this is a real payable. You actually will have to pay your American Express statement. You're going to submit that vendor invoice for approval if the approval process is enabled. And when it's time to pay that vendor invoice, you'll actually select it for payment, but this time you're going to debit your accounts payable and credit your cash. And when it's time to do your bank reconciliation, you'll also do your bank reconciliation of your operating account. First, let's go over a few system configurations that I already did in my system. I'm going under Admin, Setup, Accounts. I created two liability accounts. One Amex card accrual, which is 200306, and another one Amex card payable, which is 200307. I also created a bank account, Amex credit card account. Notice that it uses my liability account 200307 that I just created. And I'm going under payment methods. And I also created a corporate card payment method that is allowed to be used in AP. Okay, I'm all set. Let's start the process. If I'm going under financial, purchasing, purchase order, I just want to review with you my purchase orders. I have 3 purchase orders, one for Best Buy, one for Staples, and one for Home Depot. All of them are open. So now this is the first day of the month, and I'm going internet shopping on the Best Buy website. Actually, I bought everything I needed. The way I'm going to record this in my system is I'm going to Accounts Payable and create the vendor invoice. I select my PO number. Very important that you select your PO number. The important part here is that you change your AP account to be your Amex accrual account. Okay, you have to select the Amex accrual account. This vendor invoice will release your purchase order. So your commitments will be reduced by the amount of your vendor invoice. I'm going to go ahead and just select one quantity from each, and that's my 2,600. It doesn't really matter what I buy. I just want to show that I'm buying some material from Best Buy. Since my approval process is disabled in my system, I'm going to go ahead and just post that vendor invoice immediately. Oops, my task will required. Now I'm going to post my vendor invoice. And now, following day, I'm going internet shopping on the Staple website. I select my vendor, I select my PO number, and again, I have my Amex card accrual account as my AP. I'm going to go under items. Once again, I'm going to select one quantity for each. So you select, your expense account for that material. And once again, I'm going to go ahead and post my vendor invoice. Third day, go internet shopping again. This time, Home Depot. I select my purchase order, enter my amount. Once again, really important, the AP account is the Amex card accrual account. I select my items for my PO. And I'm going to go ahead and post my vendor invoice. So now, if I look at my accounts payable aging report, I will be able to see that I bought, some items at Best Buy, at Home Depot, and at Staples. So we do know that eventually you'll need to pay those bills. Now let's pretend that it's the end of the month and American Express statement comes in. It looks about like this, right? You can see here 2,600, 850, and 300 that I just entered. So when you receive your statement, what's going to happen is that you're now going to process the payment for those vendors. So I'm going to go under Financials, Accounts Payable, Bulk Vendor Payment Creation. I'm going to select Micro. The AP account that I'm going to select is my Amex one, the accrual one. I only want the vendor invoices that hit that account. My bank account is my American Express credit card account. My payment date, post date, corporate credit card is my payment method, and I'm going to submit payments after creation. So I'm going to go ahead and list. Perfect. I select all the vendor invoices that were on my statement. I'm going to click Create Payments in the list. I'm going to go ahead and post them all right away. Now I'm going to enter the vendor invoice to my American Express. So I'm going to go under Financials, Accounts Payable, Vendor Invoices. I'm going to create a new vendor invoice. American Express, $3,750, $228, $228. And notice here that the accounts payable is actually my real accounts payable, which is 200301 accounts payable. So I'm going to go ahead and save. And what I'm going to do here is that I'm actually going to select my Amex card payable account. And I'm going to put the amount of my statement. And then I'm going to go ahead and post it right away. Now, if I look at my accounts payable aging report, you're going to be able to see that Best Buy, Staples, and Home Depot are no longer there because I created, quote unquote, the payment for the vendor invoices, but I do have my American Express vendor invoice showing up in my aging for the amount of $3,750. So maybe it's the time to process your payment to an American Express. You need to pay the bill. So I'm going to go ahead and process the payment. Vendor payment creation. I'm going to go ahead and select my operating account because this time it's going to be taking the money out of my operating account. Make payment date. Post date, the desired post date. This time, I don't know how you pay your credit cards, but most likely either a check or an ACH. So I'm going to go ahead and select an ACH. Rarely people pay with a check. And then I'm going to click Submit Payment after creation. I'm going to list. Oops, this is probably not due until for a while, so I'm going to put time. Probably had a net 30 on this. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and select it for payment, list, and I'm going to go ahead and post it. So that process you probably are familiar with it. You're just paying your Amex card. Now the only step left to do is the bank reconciliation for the Amex credit card account. So I'm going to go under Financials, under General Ledger, Bank Reconciliation. I'm going to go ahead and select bank account. The last statement I created was for as of 1/31/19, so I'm going to go ahead and create a new one. New bank reconciliation. Go ahead and select Michael. Amex as of 2/28. My ending balance is my cumulative ending balance. So you need to know what was your previous ending balance and add your charges for this month. What I'm going to do is go under my checks and credit, select all the transaction that was on my statement and save. And I obviously don't have anything in deposits and debits. And voila, it's reconciled. Thank you for watching.